Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. Recently, I updated my video on how to start a business in 2026. In that video, I walked you through a step-by-step process. I showed you how to incorporate your business properly and how to choose a business model that actually has the potential to cash flow. Then I released another video on how to build business credit. In that video, I explained how to structure your business the right way. That way you can position yourself for funding. Now, if you want to get approved for higher limit business credit cards, business loans, lines of credit, auto financing, real estate funding, or any type of serious financing in 2026, you can't wait until you need money to start preparing. Your personal credit profile needs to be funding ready before you even submit your application. And that's what we're going to cover in this video. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to build a funding ready credit profile in 2026 step by step. There's a major difference between having a good credit score and having a profile that banks are willing to lend against. Someone can have a 720 credit score and still get approved for a $1,000 limit. I know it's happened to me before because banks aren't just looking at a number. They're looking at your payment history. They're looking at your current personal credit card limits. They're looking at your utilization and how long you've managed your credit. Not to mention the recent inquiries, your new accounts, your current balances, your income, your debt to income ratio, and whether your profile shows that you can actually handle these larger amounts of credit responsibly. The goal is to build a profile that tells the bank that this person knows how to manage credit, this person can handle higher limits, and this person is not a high-risk borrower. That is how you become funding ready. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. The first step to building a funding ready credit profile is knowing exactly what's on your credit report. You need to pull your full credit report from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now, my first recommendation is always annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com is the only source authorized by federal law to receive all 3 credit reports completely free, at least at the time of recording this video. You can pull your reports once per week. Now, my other recommendation is rising.com, but I'm going to tell you who I think this is best for. Now, Rising is an all-in-one credit repair platform that not only gives you access to your credit reports and your scores, it also shows you what may be hurting your credit, and it helps you take action with tools like dispute templates and bureau response tracking. Now, if you know that you have any derogatory information like collections, charge-offs, late payments, things like that, use Rising as your 90-day credit improvement system. If your credit profile is thin or lacking age, Rising also includes up to 24 months of rental and utility trade line back reporting payment history. That can help add positive on-time payments for the last 2 years. Now, this can instantly increase the age of your credit profile. So if you're someone who needs help with credit repair or you have a thin credit profile, then I recommend that you use Rising. Right now, you can access the platform with a $1 7-day trial. A link will be in the description, and there's also a clickable link on screen if you want to take advantage. When you pull your reports, you want to review your personal information first. This is very important. You do not want to skip this. This includes your full legal name, your date of birth, your current address, any previous addresses, your social security number variations, because sometimes they put multiple, your phone numbers, your employers, and any other identifying information attached to your credit profile. Now, this matters because lenders use this information for identity verification. So if your report has multiple versions of your name, outdated addresses, incorrect employer information, wrong date of births, or information that doesn't match your application, this can create problems during underwriting. Now, I do have a video that shows you step by step how to remove old, outdated personal information. I'm going to link that video right here. Highly recommend you watch that if you need to complete this step. After that, you need to review every single account that's on your credit profile. In order for you to build a fundable ready credit profile, you need to remove as much inaccurate, unverifiable, outdated, or inconsistent information as you possibly can. Once your report is cleaned up, or at least in the process of being cleaned up, you need to understand how your credit profile is actually evaluated. For today's example, we're going to focus on the FICO score once again. In particular, the FICO 8 scoring model, which is arguably the most widely used credit scoring model in the US. FICO is considered the industry standard, and according to FICO themselves, 90% of top lenders will use FICO scores when making a lending decision. So for all intents and purposes, this is most likely the model being used to approve you for business funding. Your FICO score is generally influenced by 5 major categories. The first category is payment history. Now, this is the most important part of your credit profile because it makes up 35% of your overall credit score. Lenders want to know one simple thing: do you pay your accounts on time? A person with a perfect payment history looks much safer to a lender than someone with recent late payments. So if you're building your credit profile for funding, late payments cannot be a part of the equation. You need to remove late payments. One recent late payment can really cause serious damage to your credit profile, and in some cases, it can drop an excellent credit score by 100 points or even more than that, and it can immediately make lenders question whether or not they can trust you with more credit. Now, if you want to learn how to remove late payments, I have an entire video that shows you how to do this. In fact, I've done like 4 or 5 new videos on that this year. I highly recommend that you check out those videos. I also have a credit repair playlist down in the description. Now, I want to say that if you don't see the video linked on screen, you can go to my YouTube channel, go to the magnifying glass, use a search and type in late payment removal or just late payments, and you'll see several videos come up. The second category on your credit profile will be amounts owed, which also includes credit utilization. Now, this makes up 30% of your overall score, and it's one of the biggest areas that lenders pay attention to. Now, utilization simply means how much of your available revolving credit you are currently using. Now, for example, if you have a credit card with a $10,000 limit and your reported balance is $8,000, that is 80% utilization. That looks risky because it appears like you are heavily relying on credit. But if that same $10,000 credit card reported a $500 balance, that is only 5% utilization. That looks much safer. It also shows that you have access to credit without being overextended. However, there is a balance. You do not want to constantly max out your credit cards, but you also do not want to build a credit profile that makes it look like you never use your credit card at all. So again, you don't want to be at 0, but you don't want to be at like 40%. You really want to stay 10% or below, but you want to be somewhere in that range from, I would say, like 2 to 10. That's probably the best place that you can be for utilization. Now, I've done several recent videos on explaining what utilization is. I have a video showing this guaranteed way to improve your credit score very quickly. I have another video showing you exactly how to hide utilization in various ways, so you guys can check those videos out. Once again, I can only link 5, but you can definitely go to my YouTube channel and search for those videos yourself. Lenders want to see responsible activity. They want to see that you can use credit, you can manage it properly, and you can pay it back. The third category is length of credit history. This makes up 15% of your score, and it includes the age of your oldest account, the average age of all of your accounts, and the age of each individual account. The longer you've managed credit responsibly, the stronger your credit profile can look. And this is why opening too many accounts quickly can actually hurt you. Even if those accounts are positive, they can lower your average age of credit and make your profile look newer than it really is. And when you're trying to build a funding ready profile, age and stability can matter. Once again, you can check out Rising if you want to report like your rental history or something like that. You can try to increase the average age of your credit profile by adding 2 years of on-time payment history. The fourth category is new credit. Now, this makes up 10% of your score, and it includes things like hard inquiries and newly opened accounts. Now, when you apply for too many accounts in a short period of time, banks may start to view you as desperate for credit. That doesn't mean you can never apply for multiple products, but it does mean you want to move in a very strategic way. You want your applications to look intentional and not random. So again, like I spread out all of my applications, and usually if I want a product, I'll apply for the business version. That way I can remove the hard inquiry and that account will not show up on my credit report. So kills 2 birds with 1 stone, right? You can keep your credit history long, and you also can remove the hard inquiries. The fifth category is credit mix. Now, this also makes up 10% of your score. Lenders like to see that you can manage different types of credits like revolving accounts, those are credit cards, installment accounts like personal loans, auto loans, student loans, or even secured loans. But this does not mean that you should go out and add random accounts just to get a better mix. The quality of the accounts really does matter, and the structure matters. The timing also does matter. And that brings us to one of the biggest funding mistakes that people make. A lot of people think any account that reports to the credit bureaus is good. That is not always true. Now, let me be clear about something. If your goal is just to start building credit from nothing, then yes, a beginner account is better than having no accounts at all. But if your goal is to become funding ready, you have to think a little bit differently. What you want is quality comparable credit. Now, comparable credit means that lenders look at the types of accounts and the size of the credit lines that you already manage, and they use that information to decide what they may be comfortable giving you next. So if your entire profile is made up of $300, $500, or $1,000 limits, you may struggle to get approved for major funding because you have not demonstrated that you can manage higher limits. If your credit profile shows 10,000, 15,000, 25,000, or high limit accounts that have been managed responsibly, you look very different to a lender. This is why the quality matters more than quantity. Now, this doesn't mean that everybody has to have high limit credit cards immediately to get large amounts of business funding. I'll come back to that later. There are some alternative options and methods that we can use. But if you're building from scratch, you may have to start with a secured card, a starter card, or an entry-level product. But the goal should be to graduate from beginner accounts into stronger primary accounts as quickly and responsibly as possible. Authorized user accounts can help in some situations, especially if the account is old, has a strong payment history, low utilization, and a high limit. But authorized user accounts should not be your entire strategy, because underwriters know the difference between an account that you're responsible for and an account that you were simply added to. Authorized user accounts can help with age, utilization, and all that other stuff, but they do not replace primary accounts. A funding ready profile does need to have its own primary accounts that it can stand with on its own, okay? That is very important. So that means you need your own revolving credit lines, you need your own payment history, and you need your own track record. Because one of the strongest foundations of a funding ready credit profile is having strong revolving credit. Revolving credit usually means credit cards, and these are important because business credit cards, personal credit cards, and many lending products are heavily influenced by how you manage revolving accounts. So if you're starting from scratch with credit building, it's okay for you to begin with a secured credit card from a strong bank or a credit union. You may also use starter cards from major institutions if you can qualify for those as well. The key is to avoid getting trapped in low quality cards with high fees, no graduation path, and no long-term value. Now, a good starter account should help you build history, report to all three bureaus, and ideally, it should have a path to become unsecured or lead to a better product later on, like doing a product change. Once you have a beginner account, you have to use that account correctly. Do not max it out, do not miss payments, do not let the statement close with a high balance if you're trying to optimize your score. You want to use this for small purchases, you want to pay it down before the statement closes, and always pay by the due date. After several months of responsible use, you may be able to request a credit limit increase or apply for a better card, or even do a product change, which again, that's even better because you don't have to open up a new account and shorten your credit age. And this is where strategy matters. You don't want to randomly apply for every card that you see. You want to build with institutions that can grow with you, like Navy Federal, like American Express or Chase or Bank of America, Wells Fargo, PNC, Truist, even Synchrony Bank, or just a strong local credit union. These can all be useful depending on your profile, your goals, and which bureau that they actually pull from. But don't just chase names. You want to look at the product, look at the underwriting, look at the potential limits, and look at the relationship requirements. Because if your end goal is business funding, you want to build personal relationships with banks that also have business credit products. That way, your personal credit journey is not disconnected from your business funding journey. If you don't have high quality accounts, start doing your research, and I'll give you a simple example. When I was rebuilding my credit, I had a 400 something credit score, right? I opened an account with Navy Federal. I got a $200 secured card. Eventually that card graduated, but the reason why I chose Navy Federal is because I knew I could get $80,000 on a single card. Even when I was rebuilding my credit, my intention was to use this card, make sure I don't shorten my average age of accounts, right, to shorten my actual credit history. And I knew that I can always increase this limit every 6 months and I can work it all the way up to 80,000. So again, that was a strategic plan that I set in place. If you want to learn more information about this, I just updated a video recently on using Navy Federal and graduating from their secured card. If you want to watch that video, then again, you can go to like a playlist that I have for credit unions or search my channel. I probably hit 5, so I can't actually put the video here, but it shows you how to actually graduate from the secured card with Navy Federal and then move on into other cards, and you can get up to $80,000. That's once again, if you can actually join Navy Federal. Now, a strong credit profile should not rely on only credit cards. Installment accounts can also help because they show lenders that you can manage fixed payments over time. Now, this can also include auto loans, personal loans, student loans, mortgages, or even secured loans. But if you don't need a car, if you don't need a personal loan or a mortgage, you don't need to just go get this unnecessarily. One option that you can use is a pledge loan or a secured loan through a credit union. A pledge loan is usually backed by your own funds. So for example, you can deposit money with a credit union, you can borrow against it, and then repay that loan over time. And this will all depend on the institution. The funds may be released back to you as the loan is paid down. Now, one great example of this is, once again, Navy Federal, but there's also other ones like DCU and other places where you can do this exact same thing. Now, this can help you add installment history without taking on any risk of maybe, over leveraging yourself with debt. The key is making sure the loan reports to the credit bureaus and that you understand how the funds are secured and released back to you. You don't want to lock up money in a way that creates problems for your cash flow. Again, some people use a strategy with the Navy Federal pledge loan where they open up the account, they pay a large portion of the loan early, and then they allow the small balance to keep reporting over time. And the idea is to show an installment account that is mostly paid down, which can sometimes help your credit profile look stronger. But this has to be done correctly. You need to understand the terms of the loan. You need to make sure that there are no prepayment penalties. You need to also know whether or not this loan will stay open after you pay a majority of it down. You need to know how it reports, and you need to make every payment on time, even though it's a secured loan. If you don't make the payments, it can still be reported as late. The point is to build real positive credit history with accounts that make your profile look more complete. If you already have installment accounts reporting positively, then you may not need to add another one. But if your credit profile is thin and you only have like 2 credit cards, an installment loan can help strengthen the mix. Now, utilization is one of the fastest ways to make your credit profile look stronger or weaker. Now, if your credit card reports high balances, your score will drop and lenders may see you as financially stretched. A simple rule is to keep reported utilization low before applying for credit. And again, I have an entire video on that. I recommend that you refer back to that if you want more information about utilization. However, for many people, keeping that total utilization under 10%, like we talked about, that is ideal when preparing for applications. You don't have to do it all the time, right? But at least if you're going to apply for a business product, keep it under 10%. Don't pay it to 0. That will actually hurt your score. Anywhere, I would say between 2 to 10%. That is a sweet spot. Now, this is one of the most important parts of becoming funding ready. You do not want to wait until application day to start a relationship with the bank. If you want funding from a bank, you should consider building a deposit relationship first. That means opening a checking account and a savings account, or a business checking and savings account, and letting that money sit in the bank. Some people make the mistake of opening an account and applying for a credit card in the same day. And don't get me wrong, that can work sometimes if you have like a strong profile. But if you want a better chance of getting higher limits, a stronger chance of approval, building that relationship can matter. A good relationship may include consistent account activity like multiple deposits, a healthy average balance, and responsible money movement, no overdrafts or suspicious activity. For personal credit, a 90-day relationship can help. For business credit, it can be 3 to 6 months. I think that's even more powerful depending on the bank or the product that you're looking for. And this isn't complicated, guys. Banks like to lend to people they understand. If they can see money's coming in, you're depositing money, you're building a balance, it's well managed, the account is, being handled responsibly, and you have a good credit profile. That does not guarantee any approvals, but it does make the bank more likely to give you larger lines of credit and more approvals because now they have internal data on you. Internal data really matters a lot. Some banks care about not only your credit score, but also exactly how you manage money with them. They may take a look at how long you've been a customer, your average daily balance, your deposits, your account behavior, and whether or not you already use any of their existing services. Like one bank I know for sure that's like this because I work for them is Bank of America. It does not matter how great your credit score is. If you don't leave money in their bank, you are not getting approved. And this will be especially important for business banking. Average daily balance. That is like one of the most overlooked things that people do not think about. If your business account has no money moving through it, no deposits, no revenue, no activity, it is harder to convince a bank that your business can actually handle funding. That doesn't mean you need to park all of your money in this one bank. In fact, you should be strategic. If you have, let's say, $30,000 available, it may make more sense to build a relationship with multiple institutions instead of placing everything into one bank and hoping that one bank will approve you. Spreading relationships can give you way more options. The goal is to build relationships before you actually need them. And this goes back to what I said earlier. If you have a thin credit profile or you have lower limits on your personal credit, there may still be a workaround. One way to strengthen your position is to build a real banking relationship. The more money you deposit into these accounts and the more consistently you continue adding funds over a 3 to 6 month period, the stronger that relationship will get. In many cases, this will increase your chance of receiving credit limits that are more comparable to the amount of money that you're actually keeping in your account. So for example, if you put $30,000 into a bank and you left the money in there, you show good activity, you show that you were responsible, it's a better chance that you'll get a, let's say, $15,000, $20,000, or even $30,000 credit limit, even if you have low limits on your credit profile, just because you left a comparable amount of money in that bank. So remember, a funding ready credit profile is not just about what's on your report. It's also about when you apply, where you apply. Every bank has different rules and different risk tolerances. This is why random applications can destroy your strategy. So for example, Chase is known for the 524 rule, which generally means if you have opened 5 or more personal credit cards in the last 24 months, you may have a difficult time getting approved for many Chase cards. Now, that rule doesn't apply to their business credit cards, but it's still good to know. Bank of America has application timing rules that many people refer to as the 234 rule, meaning there may be limits around how many Bank of America credit cards you can get within a certain period of time. Now, this rule does apply to business credit cards with Bank of America. So again, it's like different. With Chase, it doesn't. With Bank of America, it does. American Express also has its own card limits and internal rules, as well as Barclays. They can be sensitive to recent inquiries and new accounts. Some credit unions may care heavily about your relationship history. Some banks may approve better if you already have a deposit relationship with them. Again, this all just kind of varies. American Express is a bank where the deposit relationship doesn't really matter. I made a video called Secrets to Getting Approved for Any Credit Card. In that video, I get into details about credit card rules. I recommend that you watch that video. I also have like several videos on each of these like business credit cards with Wells Fargo, with Chase, the American Express. Like I talk about all of these things. So if you have like a specific bank that you're looking for, Truist, PNC, anything that you could think of, check my business playlist or just search my channel. You will probably find that video. Unfortunately, I can't get into every specific data point. This video will already be long, but if you want specifics about a certain institution, credit union, search my channel. You'll probably find it. If you don't find it, drop that bank in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to get on top of that and make a new video covering that institution. All right, by the time you're ready to apply for funding, your profile should look organized. Your personal information should be be accurate. Your credit report should be optimized, meaning your payment history is strong, utilization is low, your accounts are quality, or at least most of them are, and your primary accounts should have responsible usage. If you do have installment loans, then your installment history should be positive and your inquiries should be under control. Remember, any new accounts, they should be strategically timed, and your banking relationships should be established. Your deposit activity should look responsible. Your average balances will support the type of funding that you're requesting. You should also know which lenders you are applying with, what products that you want, which bureaus that they are going to pull, and whether or not they have pre-qualification, or if they're sensitive to new accounts, if they allow for reconsideration, and if the product actually fits your long-term strategy. This is what a funding ready credit profile looks, and this is also having a plan in place to know exactly what you need. So if you were going to start today, here is a very simple 90-day funding readiness plan. In the first 30 days, we focus on discovery and cleanup. Again, you want to pull your reports, you want to stay organized and create a list of open accounts with limits and balances. During this time, I recommend doing things like requesting credit limit increases and, like just kind of establishing that profile any way that you possibly can, even lowering like utilization if you need like a few months to like do that. Start getting all that stuff prepared, start paying stuff down and making sure that your score, one, is high, but your profile has been optimized. In days 31 through 60, you want to focus on the foundation, and that means finding the banks that you want. And now we are going to start building a deposit relationship. We're going to open the accounts, a checking and a savings. We'll put a little bit of money in there at a time. It could even be $25 per week. You want to have consistent activity. You want to show that you have good balances, right? You don't want to have like really small balances where you're being charged fees. You want to have good account balances, deposit frequently, and I would do that for at least 90 days. Now, by the end of the 90 days, you may not be ready for every funding product, but your profile should be much more organized than when you started. And if your credit needs deeper repair, it may take longer than 90 days, but that is completely fine. The key is that while you're repairing, you're still building these relationships. You can still learn lender rules, you can still organize your credit profile, and you can still prepare for the moment when your credit report is clear enough for you to actually apply for these products that you want. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Your biggest takeaway from this video should be this: it doesn't start with the application. Funding starts with the profile, and these are the steps to build a funding ready credit profile in 2026. And remember, the goal is not just to get approved one time. The goal is to become the type of borrower that banks want to keep lending to, because once you understand how to structure your credit profile correctly, credit stops being random, funding stops feeling lucky, and you start moving with a real strategy. If you found value in this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you want more tips and strategies when it comes to business funding, please drop business funding in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to make more videos like this. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I truly appreciate you viewing, and you guys have a wonderful day.